It was one of those quiet afternoons where everything seemed still, almost too still. Lily sat on the soft couch in the living room, her legs tucked underneath her as she stared out the window at the rain. The sound of the raindrops hitting the glass was calming, but there was something about the silence in the house that made her feel a little uneasy. It wasn't the usual peaceful quiet. It felt a little empty, almost lonely. Her mom was in the kitchen, talking on the phone with someone from work, her voice serious and a bit distant. Her dad was sitting across from Lily, typing away on his laptop, looking very busy and focused. It was one of those afternoons when Lily and her older brother, John, would normally hang out and do something fun together. But today, Lily just didn't feel like playing with her toys or reading her books. She felt restless and bored. She glanced around the room at her toys, trying to find something to do. But nothing seemed interesting. She picked up a small toy car, rolled it around a bit, and put it back down. Then she picked up a picture book, flipped through it, but the pictures didn't grab her attention like they usually did. She just didn't feel like herself today. Her eyes drifted over to John, who was sitting on the floor, flipping through the TV channels with the remote in his hand. John was always the more adventurous one. He loved trying new things, especially if they were a little different from the usual. Lily watched him for a moment, hoping he'd find something fun to do. "John," Lily called, her voice a little unsure. "What are you doing?" John didn't take his eyes off the TV screen but grinned and waved her over. "Lily, you have to see this. I found something cool. Come here." Lily felt a spark of curiosity. Maybe John had found something fun after all. She stood up, walked over to him, and peered over his shoulder to see what he was watching. What she saw made her heart skip a beat. It wasn't one of their usual cartoons or shows. The people on the screen looked older, and they were doing something that Lily didn't quite understand. It wasn't like the usual things they watched, and something about it made her feel a little uncomfortable. The people on the TV were acting in a way that didn't make any sense to her. It felt strange, and Lily didn't know why, but it made her feel uneasy. "What is this, John?" Lily asked quietly, her voice full of confusion. John looked up at her, his face lit up with excitement. "I don't know, but I think it's something for adults. Let's watch it. It looks interesting." Lily felt a wave of discomfort wash over her. She wasn't sure what she was seeing, but she had a gut feeling that this wasn't something meant for kids. She had heard her mom and dad say that there were things adults did that children shouldn't do, but she wasn't sure if this was one of those things. It felt wrong in a way she couldn't explain, but John didn't seem worried at all. "I don't know, John," she said, still feeling unsure. "Are you sure this is okay?" John looked at her unfazed. "Yeah, it's fine. Let's watch it. It's just something adults do." Lily hesitated. Part of her felt nervous, but the other part of her curiosity, was winning. John seemed so confident, and she didn't want to be left out. She decided to stay just for a little while to see what it was all about. But as the video went on, Lily's feelings of discomfort only grew stronger. The people on the screen were doing things that were confusing to her. The actions were strange, and the sounds they made didn't sound like anything she had ever heard before. It made her stomach twist. The more she watched, the worse she felt. Her mind raced with questions. Why were they acting like that? What were they doing? Why did it make her feel so uncomfortable? She thought about her parents, who had always told her there were certain things only adults should do. Was this one of those things? She looked over at John, hoping for some explanation, but he was too absorbed in the video. He seemed to be enjoying it, watching with wide eyes. He turned to Lily, his face full of excitement. "I think it's just something adults do," he said, grinning. "We should try it too. It'll be fun." Lily felt a rush of panic. "What do you mean, try it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. John, always the more adventurous one, didn't hesitate. "I think we're supposed to try it just like they did," he said. "It looks fun." Lily felt her stomach drop. She didn't know what to say. She wasn't sure if she wanted to do it, but she didn't want to seem scared or like she was stopping John from having fun. John was her older brother, and he always seemed to know what was best. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad, right? "Okay," she said hesitantly, but only for a little while. The two of them went into the bedroom, and Lily felt a sense of unease settle in her chest as they tried to mimic what they had seen on the TV. But the moment Lily tried it, she immediately felt something was wrong. The pain that shot through her body was sharp and uncomfortable. It wasn't like the games they usually played together, and it wasn't fun at all. It hurt. Tears filled Lily's eyes as she realized this wasn't something they should have tried. She didn't understand why it hurt or why it felt so wrong, but she knew she needed to stop. "John," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Why does it hurt? What's happening?" John looked at her, his face full of confusion. He didn't seem to know what was wrong either. After a few moments of silence, he backed away slowly. "I don't know, Lily," he said, his voice soft. "Maybe we weren't supposed to do it like that. We can stop. It's okay." Lily nodded quickly, feeling a sense of relief that it was over. She curled up on the bed, feeling a little lost and unsure of what had just happened. She didn't want to think about it anymore, but the feeling of discomfort lingered. She didn't want to do it again. It felt wrong, and she didn't understand why. The next day, Lily couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. Every time she thought about it, her chest tightened with worry. She felt confused and didn't know who to talk to. Her mom was always busy with work, and every time Lily tried to get her attention, her mom would say, "Not now, Lily, I'm working." Lily felt alone. She didn't want to bother her mom, but she didn't know what to do with all the thoughts racing through her mind. What if no one understood? What if they were angry with her for even watching the video in the first place? That night, as Lily lay in bed, she felt overwhelmed. The weight of what had happened seemed too much for her to carry. She wanted to talk to someone, but she didn't know how. She felt trapped. Then, the next morning, their neighbor, Antia, knocked on the door. Antia was always kind, and Lily knew she could trust her. Antia would listen without judging, and she always knew the right thing to say. Lily was sitting on the couch, staring at her hands, when Antia came in and sat next to her. "Hey, sweetie," Antia said softly. "You've been quiet today. What's on your mind?" Lily hesitated. She wasn't sure if she should tell Antia what had happened, but she felt a sudden sense of relief at being able to talk. Antia always made her feel safe, like she could tell her anything. "Antia," Lily began, her voice trembling. "I saw something on TV with John yesterday. We didn't understand it, and it made me feel funny. We tried it, and it hurt. I don't know if it was bad, but it didn't feel right." Antia listened carefully, nodding as she took in what Lily had said. She put a hand gently on Lily's shoulder. "I'm really glad you told me, Lily," she said softly. "What you saw was not for children. It wasn't something you should have watched. Sometimes, people make things that are confusing, and they're not okay for kids to see or try. You should never do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable." Lily felt a huge weight lift off her chest. For the first time since it happened, she didn't feel so alone. She felt understood. "Why did it hurt, Antia?" Lily asked. "Why don't I understand what happened?" Antia smiled gently and brushed a piece of hair from Lily's face. "It's okay, sweetie. It's normal to be curious, but your body is still growing. There are things that adults do, but you're not ready for them yet. You don't need to understand everything right now. What's important is that you always listen to your feelings. If something feels wrong, it's okay to stop and ask questions." Lily felt a sense of peace that she hadn't felt before. She didn't understand everything Antia said, but she felt safe. She knew now that she didn't need to keep what had happened a secret. Later that day, Antia talked to Lily's mom and explained what had happened. Her mom listened carefully and took everything in, then decided to sit down with Lily and John to have a conversation. "Lily," her mom said gently, "I'm so proud of you for coming to me. It's really important to talk about things that make us feel confused or uncomfortable. What you saw wasn't meant for kids, and I'm sorry you had to see it." Lily nodded, relieved that her mom wasn't angry. "It hurt, Mom," she said softly. Her mom hugged her tightly. "I'm so sorry, darling. You're right. There are things for grown-ups, and you're not ready for them yet. You should never do anything that feels wrong, and it's always okay to ask questions. You can come to me anytime, about anything." John, who had been quiet the whole time, spoke up. "I'm really sorry, Lily. I didn't think it would hurt you. I thought we were just playing." Lily smiled softly. "It's okay, John. I think we both learned something." From that point on, Lily's mom decided to take a break from work to spend more time with her children. She realized that Lily and John were growing up and needed to understand more about their bodies, safety, and trust. They started talking about these things more openly, and Lily felt safe knowing she could always ask questions and talk to her family when she needed help. Although it had been a confusing and scary experience, Lily had learned an important lesson. If something ever feels wrong, she should trust her feelings, talk to the people who care about her, and never keep secrets that make her feel uncomfortable. And from that day forward, Lily felt a little more confident and a lot less alone.